Well, it's January, but we had a little bit of warmth in the weather all of a sudden. It's supposed to be in the 60s and 70s this week. So I said, well, you know what? I'm just gonna put the boat in the water, have a little mini adventure. Just really an overnight trip. You know, drove about half an hour up from town, put it in for 5 miles. I'll probably go about 2 miles tonight, find a place to camp, and then continue tomorrow with the way home. It'll be great. A couple months back, my wife and I came out and did some snorkeling on this stretch of river. And in the process, we also marked down some good-looking campsites. So I'm hoping that some of those will still be good-looking campsites and that the mud and flooding hasn't changed them too much. So I've got about half a dozen places that I'll keep my eye out for with my map. That way, one of them will be a great spot to camp, I'm sure of it. I like to overpack for these kind of trips. I've got 2 barrels. This one in the front has some of my, I guess, tools and hardware. I've got my shovel, my axe, my stove, you know, my water bottles. That's kind of the stuff that I don't care if it gets wet too much, you know. And this one is my shelter and my clothes, you know, my sleeping bag, and I've got an extra trash bag that everything's wrapped up inside this barrel. I've also got a couple fun things. I got my snorkel. It might be too cold to snorkel since it's January after all, but we'll see what happens. My gold pan, my cute little lantern there. I didn't bring much food, and I didn't bring anything I have to cook because I wanted to go simple, no frills. So in here, it looks kind of gross, doesn't it? That's all probably grease and oil on the inside. This is my, what do you call it, like charcuterie, which is basically just pepperoni, cheese, and olives. You know, so a lot of fatty kind of food. Hopefully it'll stave off my hunger and appetite. And then I have another container the same size with nuts. So that's my entire food for this short trip. And that'll be awesome because then I won't be worrying about getting the fire going for the food. I can just enjoy the heat and warmth, no cooking necessary. I'll just boil some water and make a hot drink. That'll be it. And I'll probably have this entire river to myself because who else would be out here in the middle of January? Pardon me, the beginning of January. Am I right? It's been about 20 minutes since I put in and I've gone a mile, so that's pretty good time. I mean, it doesn't look like we're moving hardly at all right now. Well, let me get you up to the bank. You know, so this is just floating. I'm not paddling too hard, just enjoying, but I need to get to work soon because it will be dark before you know it, because it is the shortest time of the year. It's so quiet out here. I think there's supposed to be a decent campsite in about half a mile, so hopefully that'll work. Not a moment too soon. It's starting to get a little dark out here. Beautiful sunset. I think I found my spot. It's nothing too remarkable. I can actually go up there if I need to, get a little higher. But I'm thinking maybe I'll do it right here on this beach. Or maybe right on that little beach. But if the water level rises, it has rained a couple of days ago, so maybe I'll get right on this little tiny tree stump. That'll be fun. Now let me pull up and see what we got. Honestly, I'm just thankful it's not mud. Oh, I think the water level has dropped since the last couple of days, so I think we're good. Pretty flat, nice and soft. A little wet right here, actually. Wonder what it looks like up here. A lot of deer tracks. I could make it work. Yeah, I'll take a look. This will be good, somewhere around here.
It's not much, but it'll get the job done. I don't know if you can see, it's starting to get dark. We'll definitely keep any weather off, and I think it's going to insulate, trap a little bit more heat than a tent would. I'm going to throw up a tarp on this side probably, but I think it'll work nicely. I'm just going to find some firewood now. Should be lots of nice dead wood on the bank of the river. It's a pretty big branch. Should last me most of the night. I'll get this one too. I think I'll be good to go. That lamp looks nice, but it smells pretty janky. Okay. Canoe turned over, about 45 degrees. Actually gives you a pretty good headroom in there. I'm sitting up right now inside the canoe. The edge of the canoe, what do we call this? The side, the beam, the gunwale. It kind of comes down in front of your head, offers a little bit of rain shedding or whatever. So I can sit up higher than the edge of the canoe is there. And I'll have plenty of room to lay down longwise. No problem. I like this light, this lamp for the ambiance, but the smell isn't great. That kerosene or whatever it is, that lamp oil. Whew. Well, it's been probably like an hour or two since we talked last, and I've been spending that entire time basically trying to get this fire going. And as you can see, there's not much of a fire here. It's mostly just steam coming up. You can hear it. There's so much water in this wood. It's really been pretty challenging to get that going. I've been just fighting and fighting with it. I ended up splitting some larger logs to make the kindling because the twigs were they were so wet. All the bark was just soaked. They snapped pretty well, so the inside was okay, but you know, I tried to strip as much bark off as I could and split everything into small pieces. Ugh, I'm glad I didn't film it. It would have been painful to watch. But anyway, I got it now. Gonna heat up some water. Just take it easy for the night. Okay, it looks like water's boiling. So we're gonna make some of this ginger and juju bean tea. I think it's called jujube or juju bean. I don't actually know. But pour some hot water in there, let it steep. And got it. Excellent. Steep. All right, whatever kind of material is made out of these like highly absorbent cloth things, I think that it might be basically plastic. So don't put it on your hot metal mug. I'll have to burn all this off of here. Ugh. Lesson learned. Well, I figured I'd give you a tour of my camp. You probably can't see anything. Let me turn on my flashlight here. There we go. All right. So I threw up this tarp over just the one side of the canoe. I'll do this again in the daytime. Maybe it'll be easier to see. So I've got a little tent section here, and over here I just have my gear, so my other stuff. I know it doesn't look very neat right now, but nice and homey in there, just at the foot of the canoe. I should have cleaned it out a little bit so it looked a little prettier, but I got here too late. So this is a 14-foot canoe. I didn't want to place my stuff under the middle seat there, just in case it fell in the middle of the night and squished me. So if my head is right here, then that'll be okay. You could fit 2 people in here just fine if you want to do something like that. Most
Standard canoes are 16 foot for a 2-person, so it'd be even easier to fit. Although this canoe is very wide, so it does have a little bit more space inside, but yeah, it'll work. I like this spot a lot. It's pretty unique to camp on, but I think that babbling river is gonna really mess with my bladder. I might have to go pee the entire night. We'll find out. Hopefully I get some rest. Now, as you can see, I have one of my barrels here holding up this entire canoe, and it was remarkably stable. Let's see. Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it shakes a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. So that is my only support, that one column there. I could have done another one, but I think it did okay. I used this left half of the tent kind of as my tent, and then the right half over here, this is just storage. It's like my shed. I slept on my life jacket, my PFD. That's the nice thing about canoe camping, is you have a pillow. And I kept my feet up with another little bag that had some clothes in it. I didn't end up using my tarp under me. I could have, but I just used my wool blanket and I folded up in fourths, and it's surprisingly dry. So I think that did a good job. I'll just have to wash it off when I get home. Anything else to mention? No. Next time, if I did it again, I would do a better job of preparing the ground. There are lots of little uneven surfaces and roots here, so it wasn't the greatest ground to sleep in, but I was pretty warm all night, which was very nice. Let's see, get a view down that end. View on that end. That trash bag, that's where I put my feet. I put them in there to keep them from getting wet. Now the tarp here, let's get a good view. I have it staked down 2 points in the front and then 1 point in the back there. So there's some loose stuff, no big deal. I could have spread it out. This is folded in half still. I could have nearly covered the entire canoe, but I didn't want to do that because I had the fire going. And so I had the fire next to my head there, and this just kind of covering the rest of my body. But next time, maybe I'll do a little differently. I was pleased with how it turned out for now. All right, anyway, I got to get back on the river. Well, it's not quite as warm as I was hoping it would be. The sun came out for a couple of minutes right around noon, but it's been pretty overcast. So it's a nice day, nice peaceful day. It's not bad. It's probably like in the 50s or 60s, but probably not warm enough to eat playing in the water. I'm just gonna take a nice, easy stroll to my takeout location. It was a good little overnighter. You know, you gotta make these little mini trips happen when you can. We're all so busy these days. You just gotta go. Don't wait for the perfect conditions, just wait for conditions that are decent and make it happen. And then have a great time. Oh yeah, you can see that poison ivy. Yeah, I must have picked up a root maybe last night, or that tree that I was talking about. It doesn't hurt or itch, it just looks red and swollen. I'm just about to pull out the boat. There's my lunch, and look who's here to greet me but a bald eagle. Yeah, I probably can't see it, but it was very regal. He was right above us a second ago. fly back around. See him all the time over here.